I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
House Alberta Curling Series. This is the women's majors, and we'll be following the championship finals that will feature Team Gim versus Team Cameron. Obviously, all of this is coming out of the Beaumont Curling Club, and with me today, I have Shawn Joyce as my co-commentator, and Rory McCusker on production. Hey, Shawn, welcome to this championship finals.
Yeah, nice to have a chance to work with you, Joao.
Oh, that's right. I forgot to introduce myself. I am the one with a funny name. My name is João Cardoso. I am a Portuguese commenting out of Lisbon, and it's quite late for me, 11 o'clock in the evening. But for all of our viewers in Canada, this is afternoon, I suppose.
Yeah, it depends on the time zone. There's 6 time zones across the country of Canada. In the time zone of the local game here, it's 4 o'clock, and I'm in Saskatchewan. We're on the same time zone as Alberta. Viewers in Ontario, 6 o'clock.
And we are.
And I guess for the Cameron fans, they're out of Manitoba, so it's 5 o'clock over there.
Yeah. Well, a bit all over the world, a bit all over the time as well. Nonetheless, we are looking forward to have 8 ends of great curling between these two big teams. And Shawn, you might want to say something about their records.
Well, the records it's very interesting when you talk about their records, because we played a triple knockout event here. It started Thursday afternoon, and Gyeonggido, because it was 15 teams when they started in a triple knockout, she was actually set 1 spot ahead. So she only played 2 games to qualify through the A, won the semifinal this afternoon. This is only her 4th. She comes in with a record of 3-0, but this is only her 4th game of the entire event. Kate Cameron, by contrast, comes in with a record of 6-1. She's already played 7 games. She's already played twice today because she had to come through the quarterfinal this morning. So this is their 3rd game of the day, which I think, if I remember what you were telling me during the when we were chatting before we went on air, that 3 games that they're playing today is more than you've played in your life.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Well, even if you were talking about one end, you would have already be talking more games than I'd ever played in my life. So
yeah, I suppose you said you'd been on the ice twice. You didn't say it was games. So
no, bit of context for our viewers. I am one of the people responsible for the Portuguese curling program, and in that condition, my athletes have tried to push me onto the ice, but they are very scared that I'll fall and break something, so they don't let me curl all that much.
They have to get you out of the country just to do it. You were telling us before we went on air a little bit about the program, and still working towards getting a dedicated facility.
Exactly. So we don't have dedicated ice here in Portugal. I would say we don't even have non-dedicated ice, because we don't have not even a seasonal ice sheet that is big enough for ice hockey. So we can't do any of those sports. We do have a very small seasonal sheet, and by small I mean small. This is cruise ship size almost. and this is where most of our recreational curlers do their thing. And of course, most of our competitive curlers in the program come from our diaspora. So and we're talking about Canada, specifically in the Ontario and British Columbia provinces, and Switzerland, and we also have some people in Luxembourg, although, to be fair, and the UK as well. So a bit all over the world.
Spread out, yep.
but we do our best. We're talking about around 30, more or less, competitive curlers. So all in all, not too bad. But we're not the only ones. There are many countries like this.
More and more all the time.
Absolutely.
And I think part of it is the appeal of this sport to play on not just traditional TV, but on a streaming service such as this.
That's how I started.
The more
Well,
people
not
get to see
not
it.
on a streaming service. Back then, there was nothing like this. We're talking about the the ancient times of 2006. For so I started watching it on Eurosport in Europe, of course, and watching the Europeans, which very interesting competition. If you haven't seen it, please do. And it was very fun back then. You had amazing teams dominating the at least the women's side. But the Annette Norberg
Yeah.
Swedish team was something to behold. Again, not good memories for our Canadian friends, especially
Yeah.
that Vancouver final. But yeah, it was what appealed to me, and that's basically. Again, I always tell this to our Swedish colleagues when we meet at World Curling. The reason there is Portuguese curling is because of Annette Norberg. If she hadn't spiked the interest for me, there would be no Portuguese program. Well, maybe somebody would have come along, but definitely not by me. I think we should go back into this game, Shawn.
Yeah, we've got, you expect kind of an open first end, and that's your chance to tell some stories. But we've got a few rocks, and we've had a couple of misses, so things are getting interesting here in this opening end of play. I mentioned the records off the start. I probably should have mentioned as well, and I forgot. Through the preliminary rounds, everybody gets a practice session before the game and they draw to the button. In the playoffs, it is the higher seeded team that automatically gets last rock and they take first practice. Gim was the A event qualifier. Cameron came out of the B. So Gim has last rock here in the first end by virtue of being the A event qualifier. Cameron, then without the last rock, throwing first this end, they have the Yellowstones and they are sitting 2 right now. We're on to third's final stone.
This ice has been curling quite a bit. I think we are on, and I'll have to check the number of the sheet this time. The last game I followed was on sheet 2. This is sheet 4? Shawn?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, sheet 4.
6-sheet facility in Beaumont, an outstanding 6-sheet facility. I've had a chance to watch games. The men were playing here last weekend, so 2 weeks in a row, and they've got the rocks condition, so a lot of curl, and it is held up all week. Like, you saw a lot of curl Thursday. Here we are playing in the final Sunday afternoon, and the rocks are still moving plenty.
Yeah, they were curling, I think, around 5 foot. That's what Rory told me in the last game.
Yeah, close to that.
Quite a bit.
And it's late too, right?
It's
this
late.
Camera angle is great for it because you can see that they stay out there for a long time, and then all the movement starts about maybe 10 feet outside the hog line, and they really start to go sideways. So you don't have to go skinny by the guard to bury a rock, and the sweepers can have a lot of influence over where it ends up because they can wait till very late to sweep if they have to.
Absolutely. And here we go into the skip stones, and this will be Kate Cameron throwing her first in the first.
Tricky shot here. She's got to get this red by her own stone at the back of the 12-foot. She'd like to continue to sit 2 and maybe get a force here.
She needs to go by the guard, and she does. It's going to nose it.
Yeah, catches that yellow on the way by, though. And leaves it biting at the back.
Ooh, but it's biting, yeah. So we will have Yoon Ji Kim. And again, our Korean viewers, please forgive us. We're trying our best with the names. I have a tough name as it is, so I am the first one to excuse everybody when they misspell my name. So you'll have to forgive me if I do some misspelling of my own.
Yeah.
So Yoonji Kim is going to be throwing her first stone here on the first end.
And I think that pronunciation is right. That we're kind of fortunate with the Koreans is that at least they're all one-syllable names, so it's pretty pretty good to have a reasonable guess.
Well,
and
trust me.
the line I've always said is because I've done this for a number of years, even with players back home, is if you happen to mispronounce it, we apologize, because I know that, aunts and uncles and friends and grandma and grandpa, they all want to hear their player's name and they want it pronounced correctly, but the players will all tell you they don't really care how you pronounce it as long as you spell it right on the giant check at the end of the event.
That's absolutely true. Oh, and this is it's over curling a bit, but
No,
that's
she's looking
not
for the
too
roll.
bad.
Yeah,
That's good. It becomes
it's
hidden
shot
by the
rock.
guard.
Kate Cameron kind of forced here to play the freeze to that, and this is a big shot in the first end, because if you don't get this in
That's
pretty good
3.
line in front of it, it could be 3. Yeah.
We'll see. We see Taylor McDonald holding the broom. We've seen Kate Cameron. And again, the fact that this is our 3rd game in a row, this must also weigh on the athlete's mind, because it gets they get tired as well. They're human.
Yeah, it can. And it's early in the season. Like, for a lot of these teams that are used to playing in these types of events, traditionally, the championship day, the last day, if you're going to get to the final, you're going to play 3 games in a day. So as the season wears on, they're going to do this from time to time. But this is early in the season. I don't know whether these teams would have had a chance to play a 3-game day very often yet. It takes some getting used to, for sure.
And the line looks good. Kate is,
if they can get it far enough.
It. It's a bit short, so it's a draw for 2 if Yoonji Kim wants to just do the draw. If she plays the hit, it could be a hit for 3. Again, up to her to decide. We'll see.
And you saw it was, I think it's the 3rd Minji Kim that was looking at. You could play off the yellow, and there's a catcher, that red stone that's just out the back of the rings. So hit this yellow fairly thin, get it over the top of the red at the back of the 4-foot and out of play. And if your shooter rolls into that stone just off the rings on the back of the 12-foot, you could pick up 3 that way. The rock at the back 12 would count.
Yeah, Shawn, but still, even the hit here would be, I would say, the lesser evil, because it might be an easier hit than the draw, because the draw, then you really have to be within the 4-foot. But if you play the hit, at the very least, if you don't push it against your own stones, you're getting 2, which is in hand with hammer. It's good, right? It's what they want. They're playing a final. It's not
at this level with these teams. I don't think she's got a problem with playing the draw. She'd expect to make it, but yeah, it's the possibility of the extra point, and I'm not sure which one of them saw it first, but I think she's right. She's got to hit it fairly thin to get it past her own, so she wouldn't be able to hold the shooter if it wasn't for that catcher out on the outside, and it kind of looks like the angle's right to go into that.
We'll see. So
enough that they feel it's worth taking a shot at it.
Holding the broom. So here we go. Final stone here in the first end. A hit for 3. Needs to pass the guard. It does. Needs to be thin.
Just a question, where does the shooter end up?
Will it stop? It doesn't. So it's 2 points for Team Kim. Not a bad start.
Yeah, needed to be just a hair thinner, and she picks up 3, but 2's a good first end for them.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
make moments like these possible.
Calling all curlers, novice to pro. Ashland Curling Supply's patented rotator disc system lets you customize your slider right in the store. Velcro attachments make it easy to find the sliding platform that's right for you. Shop Ashland Curling Supplies, 700 McPhillips, online at ashland.com.
Me coming from, well, let's get back to this. So welcome back to the second end. This is the Hack2House Alberta Curling Series, Women's Majors. We're watching the championship finals, which will feature Tim Gim versus Tim Cameron. And Shawn, we've had an interesting first end, at least the final for skip stones, where we saw Tim Gim score 2.
Yeah, just a couple of misses early in the end left some rocks in the rings, and there were a few interesting attempts. She wasn't far off getting the 3, right?
Yeah, no, she was very close.
Just a hair thinner on the first one, and she goes dead into that back one. She hit it just on the front end of it and then spun up and out.
And we're watching the second stone in this second end. So this is Mackenzie Elias, the lead of Team Cameron. And in the first stone we had Yi Seol from Tim Gim. She's their lead and she placed the center guard. So we have a perfect stone hidden here from Mackenzie Elias. So Yi Seol with her second stone of this second end. All second. No, she's the lead. So I was going to say it's all seconds, but no. We'll get to that.
We only missed the one stone, and I didn't see how she threw it, but it's always to me a little bit interesting when you see Mackenzie came around from the intern side, and here Yun is coming around from the outturn, probably through the outturn for the guard. Now, we talked about it a bit off the start. They don't have to draw to the button for hammer here in the final because there's a higher seeded team. A lot of times in that pregame practice and draw to the button, it's kind of dictated. So one team will throw one turn and one team will throw the other, but they've all thrown that draw to the button on their side of the sheet. So when you get into an end like this, that's where that'll happen. A lot of times, both teams will stick to the side that they threw in practice. This being the final, and they didn't have to draw to the button. They probably threw some different shots in practice as well, and surprising maybe just a little bit that they're taking opposite turns to go at this same shot.
Exactly.
Nice that the ice will give it to them. Sometimes it won't. Sometimes one turn curls more than the other, and then you can't do the same thing from both sides.
We're starting to see I like to call it a train of rocks.
Sure.
So a granite train getting formed here in the house.
You see this a lot at this level of play where the two teams, I talk about it as being jockeying for position. They're both trying to get an angle in the house. And the runbacks will start eventually. Here, the Korean team looking to play one now and only able to play it because it's their guard.
And it has to nose it perfectly, and it does, and they manage to get the double.
And that right there is why they try to set up all those angles. All of the teams at this level so good at the runbacks. You say you haven't played much. You've been on the ice a couple of times. I did used to play a fair bit, and in my day, we were just happy to make contact when you were playing a runback. Now they play them so often, and the stones are so lively. They're not happy unless they stick that rock in the rings like they did. She made the run back, kept the raised stone in the rings, killed both yellows. The stone that's left in the 8-foot is buried. Like that was greedy when I was playing to think that you could get all of that out of one shot. And now they're not happy unless they do it.
And here we see Brianna Cullen. She also played the hit and managed to get a double takeout as well. So not a lot of setup for Team Cameron to score their deuce here. They'll have to start all over again, and they have 5 stones to get there.
They still haven't guaranteed that they're not going to look at a steal as well. The guard does belong to Cameron, but it's on the center line, just touching it anyway.
We'll see what. And this will be Soo Ji Kim. So she's the second, throwing her second stone here. On the second end. There you go.
I love this camera angle too. It's one of those, you look at where that rock was when it crossed the hog line. And the point I was trying to make, it kind of doesn't help that she's 3 feet short. But if that rock gets to the top of the 4 foot, it's dead buried. And look at where it was when it crossed the hog line. All the movement is late.
It really slowed down a lot in the end and didn't bury itself a bit. Almost there.
Yeah, if she's a couple feet deeper, she would have been buried. It stopped before it had time to curl far enough.
This will be Brianna Cullen's last stone here in the second. Playing the hit.
Yeah, needs to keep the shooter in play here. Doesn't want to give him another chance to make that come around. This is going sideways.
Oh, that's going to hit the guard. It doesn't. It's perfect. It doesn't roll. But that was close to the guard.
That's fine. They'll be okay with that. I'm not even sure they were entirely trying to stay that close to center. I thought they might have been trying to hit and roll to the wings. Had to keep the shooter in play. If you keep the shooter in play, then Gim's got to make a play on this stone. She doesn't get a chance to come around the guard again.
It's going to be interesting seeing how this Korean team evolves over the winter. See if they'll qualify out of the PCCCs into the Worlds. If they will be the ones representing Korea there.
That's not a guarantee. There were, I think, 2 Korean teams here this weekend.
Yeah, and they're very good. The Korean teams coming out of that Korean program, they're always top level. Here we're going to start seeing the back end stones now with Taylor McDonald. Again, another. I think this will be a draw.
Yeah, she's looking to come right around the 2 stones, the guard and the one in the 12 foot.
We'll have to see how the house is looking to assess where this will end up. Again, trying to put it within the 4 foot, but it's a bit heavy. It's going to end up somewhere in the 12. Is it going to go out? No. It's deep in the 12. I think it's the 3rd stone.
Yeah, that'd be my call too. Yoonji Kim going to take a look.
Yeah, we were checking.
They never point for us. I would like them to point.
Well, as you were saying earlier on, and when we were talking before the game started, we could use the microphones, but well, in this case, in the specific case of this team, we could use a Korean commentator.
Yeah, microphone might not have helped by itself anyway.
Here we have Min Ji Kim throwing her first.
Line looks really nice.
The line is perfect. Is the weight good? That's the question. And we know that these stones start to curl right at the end. Will it? Nah, it bumps. But it's not bad. It closes the way to the 4 foot. Well, more or less.
Yeah, if anything, it probably touched kind of not right in the side of the rock, but almost as it was going past, kind of caught the back end. So it touched the stone in the 12 foot, straightened out, but then continued to curl. So it's still got a sliver underneath the red stone. It's almost dead buried under the long guard.
I think Kate.
And definitely the one at the top of this 12 foot is definitely second shot now after rubbing it a little bit.
Oh, absolutely.
Still hard to say for sure who's third, but I think it's the red on this side.
I think Kate is going to ask Taylor McDonald to do the run back here.
Yep. And it looks like the way she gestured for the roll, she's trying to hit this right on the nose, catch the side of the red, and have the yellow run back stone come in and take that red at the side of the 8 foot as well. There's a couple of ways she could make doubles here.
Is it going to be nose? No, a bit off nose.
Nope. Did she catch the red at all?
I don't think she did.
No, didn't catch either one of them.
She closes the left side. Well, again,
It's-
closing it is a bit of
Yeah,
an
the way this
overstatement.
curls, you can get to there still
Yeah.
with a draw. They're going to take another look around the outside. After they move that one at the top, I'm pretty sure it's second. Third is still close.
I would say that the third would be, again, Yellowstone at the 12, maybe.
You
The
think
camera
so? I
angle
think
then
it's-
distorts a bit.
Yeah. I thought it was the red on the side. It doesn't really matter. Well, I shouldn't
It
say that.
might
Yes,
in
it
the
does,
end.
because there's a double. Now with that guard moved over, there's a double at the top, so it does matter, yeah.
See what happens after this. First stone by Yuji Kim. Again, this Korean team with only 2 Kims. Normally would have all 4.
Oh, no.
Most
I
popular name.
had Yunji in last year at a few events, and she had 3 Kims on the team. So it's Gim and 3 Kims. I really had to enunciate to make sure I had the right last name.
That's true. There we go. We have Minji Kim holding the broom, and we have Yoonji Kim heading to the hack.
Oh, I
Setting up.
had this team in the last game, and I didn't even realize that. So the Gim, Kim, Kim, and then middle names, you got 3 G's.
That's true.
Yeah.
And don't get me started on where they're curling out of.
Oh.
I cannot pronounce that one. I'll try to murder it. It's Gyeonggido. So, well, South Korea for short. And they're putting on a guard.
This needs to curl.
It does. It does curl a lot. Well, not too bad, Shawn.
I think they closed the port. Like they couldn't leave a port between the 2 guards, or she just comes through it, nose hits the red, and makes the double. I think it curled just far enough.
Well, you couldn't cover them both, so this is the next best thing.
Yeah, you couldn't leave the double. I think Kate's likely coming around wide on the intern side, draw to the button.
I think trying to nose the one in the 12 is, I'd say, almost impossible, because it really needs to curl through the 2 guards.
Oh, it
which
will. It will. But I don't know that I don't think the port's wide enough.
I think it's just wide enough for a rock, and it's... Nah. I don't think there's any point in risking it, because then you'd be facing maybe a seal.
Yeah.
So Cameron's already 2 down. So yeah, I think she's going to draw.
Yep.
That's what Taylor McDonald is signaling by the ice she's giving.
And this shot's definitely there. The movement's also late, really. That the center guard's not even in the way of her draw to the button path. You'll watch these rocks. I love this camera view that we've got, because it's up a little bit high from behind the thrower, and you watch these, they'll come straight, and it's about 10 feet out the hog line, out in front of the hog line, where they start to move, and then they move so big.
And there we go. First rock for Kate Cameron in the second end. The draw.
This
into
is
the
curling
fourth.
early.
It's curling a lot. But maybe it's the perspective. It goes past the guard and needs to stop. It's a bit heavy.
They had to sweep it to get by the guard, though, and
we've seen this from Kate Cameron in the semi-final game. Bit heavy. Now we'll be likely seeing Yoonji Kim closing that route.
yeah, I think she'll come right into the 4-foot if she could, but definitely the miss here is a little bit short. If she comes to the 4-foot, she'll make the rings a little bit smaller, the scoring area, the rings, and Kate will probably have to draw wide around on the out turn, and she could see the 4-foot, but she has to get by that redstone at the top of the 8-foot. And you've been watching it here all day. Look at how much they curl coming into the house. It's not going to be easy to get by that stone.
No. There we have
Look
it.
at the stone she
Kim.
just threw.
Yeah.
Where it ended up. It's in the back 12 foot. She came by the guard that far off the line on the other side.
Those are almost, what, 3 feet?
Yeah, they come in, they curl so hard at the end. So to get by a rock in the top of the 8 foot like that, it's, to a Canadian curler, we see that shot all the time. It's not easy on this ice because the movement's so late.
There we go. It's a bit wide.
This
But
has got
they
better
also
line.
know- They also
Better
know it's
line
going
than
to
Kate.
curl a lot. It's starting to curl. That line looks good, but the weight is, again, missing on the light, on being light, which is okay.
Yeah, that's the miss there, right? If you miss light, you've taken that path away from her and you make her throw a different shot for her last one.
And now there's only the path through the right into the 4 foot. Kate Cameron has a tough shot against, well, I doubt that she would concede a big steal here, but if she's very, very heavy, that might be a steal of 2, maybe 3.
I thought I
She
heard
would
her
have
say
to
it
be
might be there for
extremely,
2. I don't
extremely
see
heavy.
how.
Yeah, she would have to be extremely heavy. We'll see.
We don't have mics directly on the players, but we do have mics on the cameras, and we can sometimes hear them. I was trying to spy. I thought I heard her say it might be there for 2. So if that's true, she thinks the yellow at the back of the 12 foot is second. And if she can come down with enough weight to move that red through the rings, and it won't be big weight because she's got to keep her shooter as well.
Well,
She thinks it's there for 2, I think.
if it's there for 2, then, well, if she makes it,
It's a tough shot.
it's a great shot. If she doesn't make it, well, at least she tried.
Well, if she's right that they're second at the back, then she's not giving up more than 1 anyway. Well, I guess it depends how she misses it. Yeah, no, the one she'd be hitting would be 4th for sure.
And she goes back to check again.
I think this is one where as she was making her way down to the throwing end, she's looking back, and that red stone that she was looking to go after is so well buried that as she got back towards the throwing end, it just didn't look good. Visually, it can't look good to go after that rock. It is probably there on this ice, but it's not one where you can sit in the hacks and feel confident that it's going to get there.
You have to trust the sweepers.
So she's playing the draw.
There we go, a bit of pressure because, again, already 2 down. So it goes. Kate Cameron. Last rock on the second end.
It's 4 foot, can't see very much of it.
Well, the die is cast. And now it's up to Mackenzie Elias and Brianna Cullen. Is it going to pass? It does! That's 1 point for Kate Cameron. Great work by the sweepers, I would say, Shawn.
Yeah, they might have even rubbed that stone on the way by, but gets shot rock, picks up her single.
Great context, even by Team Gim. They really created a really tough shot for Kate Cameron, but she got it in the end. So the dreams of our supporters from Manitoba still alive. Kate Cameron can still get this one and their team. Same can be said for Team Gim. Still very early in the game. 6 ends still to be
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
Center guard. Okay, and we're back. Hack2House Alberta Curling Series. This is the women's majors, and we're back for the third end. We're watching the game championship finals. Tim Gim versus Tim Cameron, out of the Beaumont Curling Club. And we've just seen Mackenzie Elias from Team Cameron throw a center guard. We're now watching Yi Yun Sol getting one within the 4-foot. Perfectly buried, Shawn.
Yeah, a little deep, and you saw them sweeping it at the end. With as soon as they realized it was maybe too late, but as soon as they realized it was going to be behind the tee line, they tried to bring it back as far as they could. And they're thinking there, I mean, you got last rock. You'd hate to put a rock right behind the button. Kate Cameron freezes on top of it, and now you got a problem because you can't move it. It's shot rock. So that's if you're watching at home, if you're trying to be a competitive curler, it's a little things like that you have to think about. As soon as that rock was too deep, it's better off in the back 8 than it is right behind the button. They just maybe made the decision a little bit too late.
This will end up being a corner guard at this point. I don't know if this was a mistake or something.
That was a mistake. She was looking to follow down and sit in front of the tee line, but not that far in front of the tee line.
A bit light. So we'll have Yi Yun Sol's second rock here in the third end. She will be looking to capitalize on that miss and bury another rock behind the guard.
And ideally this time in front of the tee line.
Curling a lot in these last meters. Will it hit the guard? It does.
It's usually an indication when it's curling that hard that it's just about to stop, and it was a little bit light.
Back-to-back mistakes. Well, not so much mistakes, but near misses. The call was good. It's the execution that sometimes fails.
Yeah, the mistake was in the execution, but yeah, fair to call it a mistake. Gim is probably more bothered by her mistake than Cameron. At least for Cameron, she's trying to steal here, so now she's got 3 guards across the center. She's still got to find a way in, but she's got guards to work with, and you need guards if you're going to steal.
Is she going to try to bump this one?
Yeah, not big weight though. I think this is a draw weight tap, by the way.
Brianna Cullen delivering her first stone here in the third. There she goes. We see Mackenzie Elias and Taylor McDonald holding the brooms.
Needs to curl.
It opens up the center.
Yeah, they won't be happy with that.
This somewhat helps Tim Gim. We end up with one Team Cameron stone at the top of the 12. Shot stone remains Tim Gim. Now it's Soo Ji Kim stern. And she's throwing a hit. Didn't roll, so there's a roll opportunity here for Brianna Cullen.
Yeah, has to be a little bit careful because that yellow and red in front of the house are pretty close together, so she can, given a chance, can play the run back, and it'll be the redstone coming back. So it's almost one of those ones where you don't want the perfect roll, because if you get the perfect roll, they play the double run back and stick it buried, and you're in trouble. You'd like to hit it though.
Oh, it hits the guard. And the shooter goes out. Not an easy end here for Team Cameron. This is becoming a bit more complicated now.
Yeah, and she's looking at the split where she could get 4 into the rings and there'd be no guards left anywhere near the middle. All corners.
Some discussion from end to end. Whilst we see Suji Kim setting up to deliver her second stone of the end. Sweepers immediately on it.
Wanted to hit this fairly thin. It's going to over curl, so they're going for the straight back now.
It's going to be a nose hit, and is it going to stop? Kate Cameron on it, trying to get it out of the rings, but he couldn't. It stops and is parked on the bottom of the 12. And we go into the back end for Team Cameron. Taylor McDonald.
Yeah, she's going to look to play the hit on the stone at the back 4 foot, the shot rock, and then try to roll under the red guard. And again, it's a case where you maybe don't want to roll perfectly buried because they might run it back. You might see them play the split to get anyway. They wouldn't get shot rock, but they could have 4 in the rings, and that's a problem for Kate Cameron. I heard them say something about rolling into the hole, and I have to think that was their cautionary thing. We don't want to roll into the opening between the 2 guards.
This is looking to be a nose hit. It's not curling enough for anything else.
Yeah, they called for curl early, and that's when you see the sweeper, who's usually away, will take the inside and try to make it curl. And then at the end, they switched back, thinking they could have rolled behind the corner. It was just, if they were going to go to plan B, that was too late.
Maybe here, Tim Kim. Well, surely they want to hit that one. Now the question is, do they want to roll it somewhere?
They'll want to roll, but you got 2 ways you could go. Like, you could roll behind the red in the 12 foot. You could roll behind on the other side of center line, the red that's just out front of the rings.
Yeah, and we can see her signaling that. So.
Yeah, that might be part of the discussion that's going on from one end of the rink to the other. Is just decide which side you want to roll to. You can get buried at either side, but you have to make a decision which one you're playing, because they're drastically different shots.
So Minji Kim delivering her second stone here. And this needs to curl.
Shouldn't come up at the end.
Starts to curl now. And needs to stop now. And it does.
Or keep going. They didn't want to get caught in between. You'd hate to roll and just stay right in between the 2 guards where Kate Cameron could get at it with takeout weight. So it rolled past the opening and in behind the yellow.
So now Team Kim sitting 3 with hammer.
Yeah. And Kate Cameron has nothing left that she can do except for draw around a red stone.
Taylor McDonald to draw. She will try it. We see Mackenzie Elias holding her broom, waiting for Kate Cameron's instructions.
Hand up from one of the brushers, indicating this might be a little warm.
Heavy.
She can afford to be deep.
The line is good. It's going to sit against the... it actually ends up a shot stone in the 8. It's not bad, but
It's not a bad spot. It would be awfully long to try the run back, and that's why it's okay to be deep on that, because you're coming around to your opposition's stone, and these teams are so good at the run backs. So by creating extra space between those stones, that kind of helps you. It looked like Yoonji Kim was looking at coming through the port, and that's just going to call it. There's room for that. And this is because of all the curl that we see. And if they crash the front one, they'll push it into the rings. Quiet weight that they're going to be throwing here.
in the end, it's not a terrible outcome if it does
No.
happen, because it opens up the center.
Yeah, it'll open up the center and it'll put another red one into the rings.
And this will be, I believe, the last zone for me. Minjin Kim. I was actually pointing out it was the second stone before, but actually it was the first. So here we go. Second stone for Min Ji Kim in this third end. Oh, it's curling a bit too much. No, it has. It's actually perfect.
I would have said they needed to keep going after they got by the guard.
Oh, great shot by Min Ji Kim. And well, maybe what Kate Cameron needs here is more of the same.
Yeah, you know, if she can get close to the weight that Taylor had, I mean, she can come by the guard a little tighter than Taylor did. She can get right to the face of that red stone that was just thrown, and then it's real hard to get it out. This is one where you kind of have to throw it to the brushers. You throw it maybe T-line weight on out of your hand, and then let them sweep it into place if you can.
We've seen Kate Cameron being a bit heavy on the second end. Let's see if she has tuned her draw weight this time.
Yeah, you say that, but you know that's real easy to do when you're trying to draw to the back of the house, because you don't most of the time, right? You're trying to draw to the front of the house or maybe the tee line, and it's real easy to well, I got to be to the back of the house now, so I better add a little bit of weight, and you add a little bit too much. The sweepers can't make it slow down.
They can't.
Just thinking about a hit through the port now, and you know, she might be able to make a triple. If she hits the one that was just thrown, hits it thick first, it catches the one behind it, and her shooter comes across and kicks the other one out the side.
If she's able to pull that off, might be a great play. I'd say maybe the best play of this game so far.
I think that was another one we talked about last end when she got, as she was backing up like this, she was looking at what she could see and changed her mind. Same thing here. She was looking at the draw, and as she came back, looking back towards the house, she realized how much of that rock she could see through the hole.
Setting up to deliver her first stone here in the third, Kate Cameron.
She hits this just right. She can hit the red, catch the double behind it. When her shooter comes across and touches the other red, she might even spin up a little bit and end up in behind her own guard.
She goes. Immediately Brianna Cullen on the stone, trying to hold the line. It passes through the guard, but it's a double.
Yeah,
not bad.
Over curled what they had in mind, gets the double, but her shooter stays open through that same port.
That is, but at least it solves one problem for Team Kate Cameron. Cameron.
Cuts down the amount of red stones there.
Now it's only 2. So what would be potentially a 4-point end for Team Gim, although
Four's not out of the question yet.
yeah, but it's still unlikely. Team Cameron would have definitely a word to say about that. Now, a bit less likely, I'd say. We'll see.
Gim's going to try to roll buried here, but I didn't see the indication which way. I would be a little worried about trying to roll behind the red stone, because that would leave her the chance to freeze. It's going to be behind the tee line. Kate will have the chance to play that draw that they were looking at. And if she freezes to it, you're going to have a hard time scoring. So you might want to try to roll the other way off the top of your own stone.
to pass through the gap. It does. Now, well, Shawn, they roll. They
Yeah,
try
she's-
to roll behind
Yeah.
their own guard.
Half behind. The double's still there.
It's neither here nor there, as they say.
Double's there. She's looking at the hit and roll as well. Hit the one that was just thrown and roll in front of the other red stone.
A very important stone here for Team Cameron. Good shot here. Might mean the force.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And there she goes.
She had one of the players from the other end let her know how much she could see from the hacks, but I didn't hear anything after that as to whether they're thinking the double or the just hit and roll. With that amount of ice, I have to think she's throwing this a little quieter, and she's just going to try to hit and roll in front of that red stone that's right behind the broom.
Setup complete. She's preparing to throw the last stone for Team Cameron here in the third. And unfortunately, our Korean colleague is preventing us from seeing the line, and now we can see it.
This is close.
To
did they roll too
slightly
far?
behind, and now
They
well,
rolled too
it's-
far.
It's only for 2. The draw is there for 2.
Yep.
Tim Gim wants more than 2. They have to do some weird shenanigans.
Yeah, I don't think the split's there. I see what you're looking at, but because it's that far over, if that stone in the 12-foot was on the center line, I think you could split both of them into the 8-foot, but it might be possible, but it's awfully risky. If you tried it, there's a chance you might not get either one of them in, and then you only score 1. 2's pretty big right here.
Shawn, I think this is one of the cases where you say, hey, let's take our 2, try for anything else, and another end.
Yeah, exactly. If it was on the center line, she could give it a try, because the chances are if it's on the center line and you over curl, you tap it straight back and you're still getting 2. When it's over on the side like that, you're trying to hit it like it's so precise to make the split, it would be really easy to end up with only getting 1.
In the end, this is the championship final.
Yeah,
None of these teams want to come out of this game in the end.
3-point lead is huge.
There we go, the draw. See if it slows down. It does. And it's 2 for Tim Gim. Now leads 4-1. And Shawn will go into commercials now. We'll be right back to follow up the 4th end.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Calling all curlers, novice to pro. Ashland Curling Supply's patented rotator disc system lets you customize your slider right in the store. Velcro attachments make it easy to find the sliding platform that's right for you. Shop Ashland Curling Supplies, 700 McPhillips, online at ashland.com.
And even for the viewers, it's better. Speaking of viewers, welcome back. We are following the Hack2House Alberta Curling Series. These are the women's majors. And we're following the championship finals, which are taking place at Beaumont Curling Club. This is obviously Tim Gim versus Tim Cameron, and we just wrapped up an interesting third end. Shawn, 2 points for Tim Gim, 4-1. What are we looking for in this fourth end?
Well, you know, even end in a team with the last rock is going to try to play for points anyway, and because she's 3 down, you'll see Kate Cameron try to set some things up on the corner. You saw the first one is in the top of the 4-foot. Gim, because she's got a 3-point lead, likely throwing the second one in as well. What'll be interesting to see, it's only the fourth end. Does Kate Cameron start throwing 2 corner guards already? And every team's got their own kind of feeling as to when they want to start doing that. But, you know, there's the pros and cons. You need 2 corner guards if you're going to give yourself a reasonably good chance to score 3. The problem is, if you throw 2 corner guards, Yoonji Kim has got 3 rocks in the middle before you start to deal with them.
Absolutely.
Cat and mouse. It's such an interesting part of the game at this level as to, if we do this, what are they going to do?
The tactical aspect was one of the things that led me to fall in love with this game. It's not easy to understand. I'll give you that.
Yeah, the basics of it, we were talking about this before we went to air, the basics of it is one of the things that makes it such a good sport for broadcasting is it's closest to the middle. Everybody can understand that part of it. But then the more advanced part of the strategy and the angles and the tactics as to how you do that, it's very interesting. Here in Canada, a lot of times it's called chess on ice, because there's that level of tactics involved. And you're not playing chess with a 40-pound piece of granite either. It's just because these athletes make these shots look easy, they're not.
They're not, absolutely. And we're talking about an 8-end championship finals, so there's not a lot of room for comebacks.
No, not when you gave up a 2 in the first and a 3 or another deuce in the third. You've got to score your points.
No.
Not sure what happened to that last one. It was supposed to be a come-around attempt, and it's short of the rings and overcurled the guards. Don't know. I saw that in the game I was doing in the semifinal, we had 1 rock that picked.
This one is also overcurling. Well, maybe they're...
I missed the call. They might have been throwing the guard here.
But... maybe. Well, they do have 1 in the house, so surely.
Yeah, but if
sense.
If they wanted the guard, they probably wanted it higher and more lined up. Because those 2 guards aren't lined up, she could hit the first one across the face of the second one, and it's going to come back. She might be able to get all 3 reds here, and roll everything off the center line.
Let's see if Brianna Cullen can get that.
It's a little outside, I think.
Gets 1. And Soo Ji Kim will have another chance to place her guard.
Ideally wants it higher. She wants more separation between the 2 guards so that the double peel is tougher still. Now, it was just missed, but those 2 rocks were close enough together that it did give the Cameron team an opportunity. You want to spread these rocks out and yet keep them in line. It's tricky.
Yep. And
if it was easy, they'd call it hockey.
oh, Shawn, you're going into dangerous ice over there. Dangerous ice.
She's got them lined up this time. What
did.
Kate's looking at is this time run the guard over the top of the yellow that's just off the center line and try to bring it back into the rings and maybe take care of shot rock that way. Brianna
Cullen yet again throwing a hit.
just
Yeah.
a little thin.
Still removes the guard, and we'll see definitely Min-ji Kim placing yet another guard. We are entering the back end for the Gim team. Always very technically sound, these Korean teams. Not that the Canadians aren't. Just to clarify that point.
Yeah, no, but it was, to be fair, it was one of the first things that, and not just the Koreans, from my recollection, a number of the Asian teams, when they first started playing it, so I'll include the Chinese and the Japanese teams as well, they were very strong technical. That was the first thing that they worked on. I can remember with, I want to say it was the Chinese, I think, some of the first athletes that they used were retired, especially on the women's side of the program, they used retired gymnasts. So they had the flexibility, which you've been around the game, you know, right? It's you don't think about the flexibility, but that curling delivery does require a little bit of flexibility, right? And so those former gymnasts were able to handle that part of it fairly well, and that was their first focus, was get the technical sound, and they've been always been very good technically. I can remember playing Chinese men's team. That'd be back to about 2009, and their mechanics were flawless.
Great shot by Taylor McDonald. Clears one of the guards, opens up the center a bit, and now Team Cameron has a shot, a rock also in the house.
Yeah, puts that yellow in the rings, and when you don't have last rock, that's a hard one for Gim to ignore. I mean, she could guard and try to go for the steal, but you're only one shot away from giving up two if you leave that rock in the rings. Can't count it if you put it in the back corner.
Yep. I think there is an expression
Yeah.
I've learned, which is don't go for the shiny things. In this case, just take this stone out. It won't be a danger. And again, the shiny thing here is, oh, let's try to steal.
But there are probably teams that would throw the guard. You're not wrong if you make it. You can make a good shot throwing the guard, because you make that hit, and Kate Cameron has a shot now. She's got a way to get a hit and roll in behind cover.
Not a bad out, although the double is there.
I don't know if she's even looking at the double. I think just the hit and roll for now. Just because of the scoreboard. She just wants to throw quiet weight, make the hit and roll in front of that stone behind cover. Make it hard for Yoonji Kim to get the yellow one out.
Taylor McDonald throwing her last here in the fourth. And immediately Brianna Cullen. She has been through the gauntlet in these past 3 games. So this is again her 3rd game of the day. They started at 9. And it's a lot of hours of curling, and especially for these front end girls, the women, Brianna Cullen and Mackenzie Elias, a lot of rocks that they've had to sweep.
Rolled a little bit too far. There's room to get that stone out now.
We'll see if Min-ji Kim with her last stone here in the fourth can do it.
Actually, probably got room to get in there. Yeah, there's room between the yellow and the guard. She get just past the nose, hit and roll behind cover, and she'd be back into really putting some pressure on here.
Delivery is made. Min-ji Kim. Now it's up to Soo-ji Kim and Yoon Kroll to guard it.
Calls for back and forth, so you know they're close. They might have just missed the line call. Rolls a little bit too far.
I think the context that Taylor McDonald faced in their last rock is pretty much the same. Except maybe these two stones are now a bit closer together.
Yeah, probably.
I think.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I picked that up. I don't know whether whether you would have. Kate Cameron made that gesture with her broom.
Opened it up. Yeah.
No, she's not. She's looking at playing the shot in the rings, but she's also looking at. She's got the angle run in with her last one. The yellow into the pile.
Oh, the
whatever's
diagonal.
left.
Of
Yeah.
course.
And that could be for the extra point, and she gestured at that. So she's thinking ahead herself.
Well,
Hit and roll, and she wants to hit and roll on top of the other red stone. She won't be shot rock. So if she does that, Yoonji Kim can't get it out. She'll guard it, but she's got that angle run in. She can't guard both.
we'll see.
Got to make the roll first.
Yeah, one problem at a time.
This is close.
Oh, now can see it. One, set,
Oh, I think it rolled a little too far again.
rolled a bit. Shot stone is still Kim Gim. Maybe there.
She'd have to hit it hard, lose her own stone as well. She could throw the guard, but then the problem is that yellow-red is, if you look at the overhead shot, everything's lined up where if she makes the yellow onto the yellow guard down to the angle into the one in the 4-foot, the yellows would both stay. It would be for 2. So I don't think she'll throw the guard.
We're up for an interesting pair of rocks coming up. So,
Yeah.
bit of a reunion there at the house.
You know, it's there to hit it right on the nose with some weight. You'll double out the 2 that are already in the rings. The problem is if she hits it anywhere on the outside, the yellow probably doesn't leave. And until she moves, like she doesn't have a lot of air by the guard. So she can't really, if you could get to the inside of that rock and just pick it, you could do that, but she can't really see the inside of that rock. She could just see the edge, but not really any air.
You need to curl a bit to get
Yeah.
the inside.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't care if she loses the red. She just the thing holding her back from playing the hit on it is you really don't want to hit it on the outside. Hit it on the outside, the yellow one's probably sticking around somewhere. She's thinking about drawing. I sent Suji Kim down to see how much air she's got. When she told them how much, she's decided she's going to make the hit. Nose hit will do it. She's going to throw, good normal hit weight, up weight, 9 seconds probably between the hogs. Maybe 8.5. She's not worried about keeping her own stone on the tee line. She's just worried about getting the yellow one out.
There we go. Decision made.
Yeah.
Now it's all drama of the execution. Okay. Yoonji Kim throwing her last here in the 4th.
She might have been a little back on the release. Yeah, and they're sweeping for curl.
She was.
I think she's good though. She got to the nose.
Well,
Enough to get it out.
Scenario. Kate Cameron now has the option to blank it. Not ideal.
No, but Yoonji Kim's okay with that. She'll let her blank the ends just because, like something to what you said earlier. There's only 8 ends. She runs out of time at some point in time. So if she's got a blank ends, that's fine. Now she's only got 4 chances.
Absolutely. And this will be the last stone here in the 4th. Kate Cameron. A hit. 2 blank. Hit. And goes the out goes the shooter. And that's a blank. Confirmed. Shawn. let's go to commercials. We'll be back after the mid-game break.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Mike.
Okay, so here we are, mid-game break over.
Yeah.
We're back for the fifth end. Hack2House Alberta Curling Series. This is obviously the women's majors. Gim versus Cameron.
This is almost.
Championship final. Yeah,
Sorry,
go,
Joao. This
No,
is
no,
almost
go.
surprising that they, because especially for Team Cameron, this is their third game of the day. The teams have the option at the end of the fourth to have a bit of a break, and I have to admit, I don't know whether, I would imagine that Gim's team has a coach with them. I know they do. In fact, I think they had a timeout in the last game. I don't know whether Cameron does, but just because it is, as you said, their third game of the day, I thought they'd take the option for the break.
I would expect them to do so, but maybe.
No, apparently not.
Apparently not. They're feeling confident about their game. And for them, it's their fourth game, right?
Third of the day, yeah, and they're eighth overall, I think, since Thursday.
I was talking about Team Gim. So Team
Fourth
Gim
game total,
this is
yeah.
their fourth game total and the second of the day. So they, if anything, they would be a bit fresh. And maybe Team Cameron, they just want to get back into it because they're reading the ice. They know how it works. If they stop, maybe the conditions change slightly.
Well, yeah, that's true, especially when you get down to the final game here, where there's only one sheet out there anyway, not as many bodies. Through most of the weekend, there's been at least 4 sheets going.
That may make a difference.
It does, yeah, it does for sure.
The game continues. Tim Gim with a center guard a bit off the center line, and now trying to come around, not burying it completely. Tim Cameron on the other side, they have a corner guard, and now they're likely to try to get something behind their own guard. They really need their 2 here.
They need 2 minimum, and maybe need a shot for 3. I thought they might actually throw a second corner, but they are coming around.
And that is a great shot by Mackenzie Elias.
Leaves a piece of that stone, though.
It can be attacked. Again, with the amount of curl that we've been seeing.
Yeah, this will go. That's one of the reasons why I thought they might throw the second guard. If you throw a second guard, it's 5 rock free guard zone. They can't go after either one of them yet. You heard Kate, or I heard Kate anyway. Maybe everybody did, when that was coming into the house, saying that it had to curl, they had to bury, because once it's in the rings, if you don't bury, she's going to be able to make a play on it.
Absolutely. And
Sounds like they're worried about the line.
yeah. Oh, and that's a good shot as well. It rolls a bit too much, but given that it is in the bottom of the 8, in the
Back of the 8.
back of the 8.
Yeah.
Bottom of the 8 would be a different sport.
Yes.
Also quite popular over there. There you go, Brianna Cullen.
Just looking to tap this redstone back, but has to get by the guard.
It's curling quite a bit now.
Yeah, this is just heavy draw, so this is going to curl like a draw. A lot of swing.
And that's unfortunate for Brianna Cullen. It curls a bit too much and ends up sitting on the top of the 12.
Yeah, it's in the rings. Kim probably has to make a play on it, but she's probably got room if she wants to. Well, she's going to make a play at the corner guard. That's not bad a call. Not a bad call either.
You see now, I think ultimately they decided
She
it's
got
best
outvoted.
to- Yeah. And this is actually something interesting because, for example, the game that I did before this one, the other semifinal, constantly seen the team. This was Team 1 trying to get their skip to do conservative actions, and ultimately the reason why Team Cameron are here is because their skip in the last stone, when everything was pointing for an extra end where Team Cameron would not have hammer, Rory Wang just did something out of the box and it really didn't work. And then Kate Cameron had a very, very tricky draw for 2 that she nailed. And again, we're seeing an opposite thing. The skip here taking advice from the rest of the team. And an exchange of hits here.
Yeah, they were hoping to roll that behind the yellow guard. They didn't. And now another choice for Kim. She could try to play to the middle and keep the pressure on, or she could peel that guard. It was the shot she thought about last time, the corner guard. She wants to keep the pressure on.
And this will be Suji Kim with, well, actually, yeah, Suji Kim.
I like this call. It's aggressive, or it seems aggressive, but if you just peel the corner guard, Kate Cameron's team's going to have a chance to come down and make a play on that shot rock and try to get behind the red one. You can take that away with a good guard here, and then Kate might have to hit something. She's down 3. She doesn't really want to be playing takeouts.
Rolling the line. It's curling quite a bit now. And there you have it. Almost perfectly placed. But those 2 guards can also be easily split.
Yeah, and they're almost touching each other, so if you hit, I'm not even sure which one you'd want to hit. You could hit half a rock, have it touch the side of the other one and come more or less straight back, and might clip that stone off the top of the button. Has to keep her shooter in play with this shot. She can't afford to roll out.
So that was not Suji Kim, it was Minji Kim. I stand corrected. And this will be Taylor McDonald now. Playing the hit on the guard. Hoping to keep the shooter. Let's stay. It does not. Well, yeah, it does not.
It didn't touch the other guard as much as I thought it would either, so it worked out in that she still has 2 guards, a red one and a yellow on the corner, but shot rock continues to be Yoonji Kim on the top of the button.
And at some point, Kate Cameron will have to make a decision, because she does need to set something up for 2. running out of rocks. Here comes Tim Gim replacing that guard. Needs to curl.
Yeah, the line will be fine.
And it curls quite a bit in the end. Perfect.
Really needs to make the double now. The guard and the one at the top of the button.
She's going to try to run back, asking Taylor McDonald to do that. Didn't curl enough, and also the shooter gets lost. Actually, those stones now go. So, non-consequential exchanges of stones. Obviously, all shots were necessary and important in the sense that if you don't make them,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're
She's gonna
done
throw.
for.
She's gonna throw one more guard. Kate Cameron might have to make a decision on her first one. And what I'm looking at is she could play the angle running on the yellow. She's got no other chance to score if they make this guard. So her choices are going to be to try that same run back. You have to double the one off the top of the button, and then you're hoping you've got a shot to blank on your first one, and she could still bury one and you wouldn't. Or you play that angle running on your first one. If you could stick it in behind cover, you might have a chance for two. The problem is if you don't make it on your first one, you're not going to have a shot to score on your second one.
In this, we are in the skip stones. This is the first stone from Yoon-ji Kim. Long, long guard. Quite high.
Yeah. Cameron might be thinking about trying to freeze too and then play the run in on the angle on her last one. The problem with that is Kim gets to throw a rock in between.
Yeah. And that would be a similar solution to what you were saying in the last end. So in the
Yeah.
fourth.
Yeah, so she's going to play this run back now on the angle. Now, if you can make it and stick it in behind cover, you might have a shot for two.
If you don't
Depending.
make it, then
If you don't
she
make
has
it,
a
you
draw
might.
for one, maybe. Might
Boy,
be
it's a tough draw for one, and Yoon-ji Kim's going to come right into the top of the forefoot with her last stone. Then she could nudge her stone up to the button. She might not have a shot to score. But the scoreboard kind of says you have to take this chance. This is your only chance to score two. If you're playing a run back on the red guard to try to double them out, you're hoping for a chance to blank, and it's getting kind of late in the game for that.
Here we go. Kate Cameron with her first stone here in the fifth. An important shot. She needs to make this run back.
It's overcurled.
And will the shooter stay and be useful? Too far to the right, I guess.
Yeah.
So Team Cameron is in trouble right now because Yoon-ji Kim still has one final shot to play. And she will use it to block that house for sure.
Yeah, she's trying to come right in and maybe tap her on. I don't think they tap the ice like they wanted to freeze. I think they want to leave it, maybe a foot or so space between them, because right now, if you freeze to the red, Kate Cameron's only shot's going to be to run something in, probably the red guard just off the center line. It's tight, and try to triple them, the guard and the two stones in the rings. So you want a little bit of separation between the two in the rings. There's no draw available to score. I don't know what Kate would even have.
There we go. Last stone thrown by Yoon-ji Kim. The line looks good.
Needs to stop.
Stop.
I think they're trying to come by it now because it's heavy. Chips off a little bit.
There's no shot for. There's still no easy shot for.
There's no
Kate
easy
Cameron.
shot, but she's got a shot now.
She would have to push the stone that is sitting over the button.
Yeah, she only needs to move a couple of inches though if she comes into the side of it. She could come off the red that was just thrown. She's going to look at trying to just sliver tick that yellow one and have her shooter come into those 2 reds in the 4-foot area.
Yeah, but Shawn, but it's still moving that stone
But she's going to throw a
a
takeout.
bit.
She's throwing
And
this.
look, in order to pass through the guard that is up top, we're talking about maybe 2 foot, maybe
Yeah.
1.5 foot of movement.
She's not playing that. She's playing to hit the yellow guard right beside the broom. Just touch it thin on the way by, enough to redirect the shooter into those 2 red stones at the 4 foot on the tee line.
Well, risky move. Let's see if
It
works.
is.
Otherwise, it's a steal of 2.
Yeah.
Line looks good. Bumps it. Perfect line. Fantastic shot. What a shot.
Yeah. Big shot. You know, it might be game if she doesn't make that, but she puts a single point on the board.
What a shot.
It's such a good shot. We should look at it twice. Kate knew she was close. You could hear the sweep calls. One was calling yes, one was calling whoa, and that's usually an indication you know you're close. Catches. Look how thin that was that she had to catch that stone to direct her shooter onto shot rock.
Well,
And picks up her single.
Kate Cameron. I would say this so far is the shot of the game. Amazing. Still does not solve the problem. And we'll go into a short commercial and be back for the 6th end.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
You make moments like these possible.
Calling all curlers, novice to pro. Ashland Curling Supply's patented rotator disc system lets you customize your slider right in the store. Velcro attachments make it easy to find the sliding platform that's right for you. Shop Ashland Curling Supplies, 700 McPhillips, online at ashland.com.
And we're back after an amazing shot, and that ended the 5th end. So we're back to the Hack2House Alberta Curling Series, Women's Majors, and we're following Tim Gim versus Tim Cameron. And this is obviously a championship finals, where in this 6th end, Tim Gim will have the hammer. And Shawn, what are the odds? Well, not odds, but what are the paths to victory for each of these 2 teams?
Yeah, for Team Gim, they don't need to change a whole lot. It's a little tougher for Team Cameron, but the math still works. The curler's math, as we call it. She's going to throw 2 center guards here in this end. She's looking for a steal probably here. If she forces to 1, you know, her path to get to an extra end is she's got to force them to 1. She's going to have to steal 1 some point in time, and then she needs to score her deuce in her other attempt with the hammer. That would get her to an extra end if she can get a steal, get a score of 2, and get a force in whatever order. So she's going to throw 2 center guards here. They're a little unfortunate. The first one is actually just off the center line. I'm surprised that Team Gim didn't try the tick. and now the second one is just off the center line as well.
Context. We'll
Yeah,
see.
The no-tick zone that they play, the rock has to be touching the center line, and neither of those two stones touching. But she's just going to throw the draw to the corner right now. There's a double peel available on those guards later. Can't play it yet. Free guard zone.
And we have Yoon Sol delivering her second stone here in the 6th. 3 ends to go until the end of this game, so plenty of curling left. And to say that you have plenty of curling left, it's just mentioning this game. Obviously, you have loads more in the curling stadium.
All season long, just about every weekend between now and Christmas. And then I was talking to Jerry a couple of weeks ago. There are some events after Christmas this year, which is not always the case with the competitive season, because you turn into playdowns after Christmas, and those are carried on different formats. But there are a couple of Bonspiels late this year, and Jerry was telling me, I think one is in Martinsville, and I can't remember where the other one might have been, maybe Swift Current. And it was all because the men's worlds this year are in Canada. So some of the international teams are going to be over here and looking for things to play in ahead of that.
There you go. Are you going to the Worlds, Shawn?
Probably not.
Ah. Well, it's quite a show.
I've been to the Worlds once, and only because it was so close to home. It was in Regina, just as to watch, obviously, but it's funny for the internationals. You probably think of the Worlds as the big deal. To be honest, here in Canada, the Brier and the Scotties, which are our national competitions, are probably still bigger than the Worlds.
Oh, absolutely. The quality is, well, I would say the pool, quality pool is higher.
It's the tradition of the event too. It's the regions of the country, one against another. It's just there's some rivalries there. It still plays up better. Whereas on the world stage, we've got a few rivalries, Scotland, Sweden, things like that. We need more countries. Countries like Portugal need to have teams in there. And
well, you have some interesting ones. So last Worlds in Schaffhausen, you had New Zealand. They had a great show. You had the Netherlands. The Netherlands are doing amazing things there, and they actually beat Team Schuster. So that was one of the days that I was there, actually. So very, very fun to be sitting next to the Dutch crowd whilst their team is beating Team Schuster. And that was, again, you should have seen those people after they won it, and the athletes came up to the stands to greet, well, mostly family and friends, and some unrelated Portuguese people sitting in there. So that was fun. But yeah, sure. I'd love to see a Portuguese team play in the Worlds. I don't think it will happen in my lifetime, but who knows?
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe not 4-player right away, but when the doubles discipline started, it was surprising to a lot of people to see how many non-traditional curling countries did very well right away, early. And part of that is you don't need 4 players. You only need 2. So if you've got players that are coming from countries that maybe don't have a lot of ice, it's not as expensive when you start sending them abroad to play, because you're only sending 2 instead of 2 and maybe a coach. You had some former Canadians that had ties to other countries that were involved, and I can remember Chile beating Canada, as I recall, in one of the early events. And that's, I think, one of the appeals to doubles and how it got into the Olympics, is because it wasn't always the same countries winning all the time.
Well, Italy won it last time. So.
Yeah. Oh, there's been lots of different winners in doubles, and that's good for the sport, right? If it's the same teams winning all the time, it's one of the arguments that has been going on for the last few Olympics about the women's hockey, because they know who's going to be in the final before the event starts.
Well, I don't think our Canadian crowd here would complain that much about that.
No, but the Olympic Committee would like to see it
Well,
get a little
they
bit more
certainly would.
competitive, and really the North American skaters, the players, for the strength of their own leagues, want to see those other countries get stronger in hockey too. It's just taking a little bit longer.
Yeah. Well, in terms of curling, it's tough for us little people, little countries. But yeah, sure. We'll see. We will be playing. Portugal will again, and I promise to all viewers we'll get back to the game. Just wrap this up. We'll be playing at the World Mixed Double qualifying event in December. So try to, if you want to know a bit more and to follow up those, let's call it less discussed countries, you can try to check that tournament. It's always very, very interesting. We'll see if we can earn our spot at the Worlds. Not easy.
Cameron's trying to make things interesting here in this sixth end. She's got a couple of guards to work with, already 2 in the rings. Now neither one of them's in the forefoot. You don't expect to steal with a rock like that, but it's also starting to get difficult to have a path to the forefoot. This is maybe the last path available.
And again, Kate Cameron needed, their team needed a good end like this is shaping out to be. Of course, they don't have hammer, but
Yeah.
they really need a force anyway.
Needed that one in front of the tee line, and they might have had a chance to steal here. Still in
Yeah.
good shape to get the force.
Well, they
Yep.
definitely need to force 1, score 2, and maybe steal 1.
Yeah, that's, as I said, that's the path to the extra end. And they could do it in any order. They could steal 1 here, force next end, get the 2 coming home. That works. You get the force here, you get the steal in, or get your deuce in 7, and steal in the 8th to get to an extra end. There's a few combinations.
See what Minji Kim will do with her last stone here.
Yeah, she's looking to peel the guard closest to the center line towards that yellow in the 8-foot, and it's not critical that she gets it. It's kind of a bonus if she gets the one in the rings. As much as anything, she just wants to make sure she's got an open path with her last one to score 1. If you could ever stick this, you might have a chance for 2.
Is the angle there? No.
The angle was there, but
opens the center.
they miscalled that a little bit. I think they thought they were making contact with the one in the rings, and it just drove it across the top.
Now we'll be seeing the skip stones, starting with Kate Cameron. Again, with the center of the house wide open.
Yeah, I thought she might throw a tight center guard here. I get the risk. The chances that the possibility is that Yoonji Kim comes off that stone at the edge of the 8-foot and tries to roll behind cover, and that's why I'd want the guard tight. Then you could run it back. But if you're drawing that far off the center line, even buried sitting 4, your chances of stealing here aren't good, and you've already got the force.
Concentration moment for Kate Cameron as she delivers this first stone here in the 6th. Line good. Starting to curl quite a bit now. Oh, it's a bit heavy.
No, it'll be fine. She'll chisel off her own and sit at the edge of the forefoot.
Not too bad. Yep.
Yeah.
The outcome is good.
Actually, by rolling where she did, Gim can't come off that stone at the edge of the 8-foot and roll under cover. She could make the double, but she can't get under cover. And
That is
even
true.
if she makes the double, Kate will have the chance to hit back and roll under cover and sit 3. She'll have at least the force.
And we have a small Korean convention here in the house. It's an important moment in the game.
Well, it is. You know, I'm sure she's playing the hit. Part of the discussion here will be how much weight do we want to throw. They might be looking at, can they throw a quiet hit, get to the one that Kate just threw and hit it right on the nose? And maybe they can on this ice. I don't know if they'd be shot rock.
But again,
You know,
if
you could hit the
they-
one that's second shot, but you'd never be shot rock. She's looking about if we hit the one at the back, are we shot? And I don't think they would be. I think the one that's by that Kate just threw would still be shot rock.
One question
She's
I
gonna
have
draw.
for you. One question I have for you, Shawn.
Sure.
Are these games timed?
No. There are some of the events, some of the bonspiels do have clocks, but one of the things with a lot of the bonspiels, because the running the time clocks is very volunteer labor intensive, they don't always have them at some of these events. So yes, it can get a little bit slower when they get into so many rocks in play and they're discussing all the options. But I'd rather have them playing ends like this where things are a little bit more interesting.
Oh, right, you are. I completely understand the human volunteers.
Yeah, when you
side of
start
the-
getting into time clocks, it's tough. You need so many bodies to run them.
Two per sheet. Here we go. Yoonji Kim's first stone in this 610. Jeez. Oh, but it's curling a bit too much, I'd say.
No, I think that's where she was looking. She was just playing draw to the button. She's expecting that Kate will hit and have to roll away from that spot, and then she'll have the same shot for her last one. It was practice as much as anything else, knowing that she was going to have to draw with her last one.
Let's see what Kate Cameron does now.
I would almost say she might be overthinking this, looking at coming across the top of the redstone and try to get the hit and roll in behind those two yellows at the side of the 8-foot. The problem is if you ever hit it right on the nose, you jam it on the back one, it's probably second, you leave a double, which would end the game.
That is the...
And if you make the roll behind cover, you're not making her last shot any tougher than it already is. She's still going to be throwing the exact same shot. So if you just peel this out, she's still got to draw against 4.
The objective is achieved, which was
Yeah.
to force. So, yeah. Can't nose it. It's curling enough. It will not jam. There we go. So,
But did the same as just straight peeling it out the other side, which would have been safer because she rolled out anyway.
Yoonji Kim will now have a draw for 1. And again, as you said, Shawn, she's already practiced this shot.
Already practiced it. And you know what? Not just her either. It's not just a case of it's just about the thrower practicing. The rushers just watched one come down, so they've now got a good feel for the weight. They just saw it. The line caller knows this is what the line should look like if the weight's right. She can, I think, if they had to, come down to the back yellow, and it would just be a single point. It's always a little scary when you're drawing against 4. I mean, yes, she's got a 2-point lead, but things can go wrong.
Oh yeah, I know. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how I know.
Rushers haven't really touched this one. It's curling now.
The line looks good.
Yeah, she should be down to the
Needs
back
to
one if she
stop.
needs
Needs to stop.
to. She's down to the back one. Be a steal of 1.
Yes, yeah, it's a steal of 1. So, well, there you go.
There's your steal.
You can, again, viewers at home, you can start checking the boxes. So steal is done. Well, obviously the viewers that are supporting Team Cameron. If you are supporting Tim Gim, well, still have 2 ends, and you'll have hammer on the 7th. So, but if you are on Team Cameron's side, you are going to go into commercials. That's what you're going to do.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, Bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
6,300 Canadian.
That's what they're playing for here.
Yeah, exactly. So we're back to the Hack2House Alberta Curling Series Women's Majors. And obviously we're looking at Team Gim versus Team Cameron and the score. Shawn, this is very tight. We're looking at 4-3. Team Kim leading, just for 1.2 ends to play. Anything can happen.
A little bit better start for the Cameron team here this end, as that first guard is touching the center line. I still think they're throwing a second one. I didn't see her gesture. I'm sure they talked about it between ends. We were going to throw 2 guards here. Really, the only thing Kate Cameron doesn't want to see here is a blank end. She's okay with a single point either way, to be honest. If she steals one, they're tied up coming home. She just needs to steal one more point. If she forces a single, she'll need to get her deuce in 8 and then steal the extra end. So
Exactly.
she's happy if either team scores a point this end. I can see them just trying to get it to curl a little bit more at the end. And
The one scenario that they,
did it touch
blank.
the line?
Or Korea getting to, well, Korea, no, to Gim.
Gim, yeah. I think
Sorry,
that is
old habit.
intersecting the center line, because if it wasn't, I think she played a tick here. She went out to take a look. Looking from the hack in, you could see like the running surface of the rock isn't touching the center line, but you have to look at it from above.
Go. This will be the second stone from the lead. Yi in Seoul looking to get another stone inside the house.
Yeah.
And the line looks good.
Yeah, might be
Bit
a little
heavy.
strong.
Ultimately not too bad because it covers. It's covered by the top guard. But
Yeah.
With this ice, that's attackable, I would say.
So I think the way she tapped the ice there and said, "This is fine, that's fine," she's trying to freeze to the stone, the shot rock first. And if it over curls a little bit and they freeze to the stone that was just thrown, that's fine too. She's really just trying to get a rock in a position here that it's going to be difficult for Team Gim to remove, and she can use it later. She knows Gim's going to be peeling the center guard on the next one.
This needs to curl,
It needs to slide. It'll curl if it's got the weight.
Not seeing the top side view, but yeah.
There it
shot.
is.
Second stone, second shot.
Yep. Left herself a good angle.
Can be pushed.
Yeah, if you look at the view from the thrower's hack, she could see half of that stone, which is more than enough to play the yellow onto the red anytime she wants to, and she won't be in a hurry.
You see here, Gyeonggido asking for the removal of the guards. Maybe one, maybe two, just
Yeah,
one.
it looks like they're just playing the one.
Yeah, and we're going to see Kate Cameron asking for that push.
I'm not sure we are. I think she's playing the guard. I'd be playing the guard anyway. You don't have to play it yet. This comes down to timing. The sooner you come into the house, the more shots that Gim has to play some doubles. So you play the guard. You know she's going to peel it off for a couple, and then maybe on third's last stone, you make the move in the house, and then they don't have as much time to bail out.
Go.
Now,
This is
the other
Brianna
side of that,
Colt.
the other side of that discussion is the other team knows what you're doing.
Absolutely.
And every once in a while, she won't do it yet, but there's always that danger that you throw one too many guards and she decides, nope, I'm not going to peel it anymore. I'm going to throw something else. It's kind of the risk you have to take because she's behind here and needs to take some risks. And you can't just ask the other team what they're going to play because I wouldn't trust them not to lie.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
But it's part of what makes this part of the game so fun when we're watching it, because it's every team's got a different feeling as to when they want to make their move, right? The teams all respect each other's ability to make the hits, so you can't come in too early or they just blast, and they've got too many chances to make doubles. And if
As
you wait
you
too
say
long,
this,
they'll just
we're
throw a
entering
draw.
the back end. So Taylor McDonald, and again, let's see if you're right, Shawn. Let's see if
I'm sure
on the
this will
second-
be a guard. She could even throw a guard because her stone in the house is in such a good spot. She only needs one shot at it. She could wait right till Skip's first. I mean, in theory, she could wait till Skip's last too, but there's no chance that Gim peels the guard. She'll play something else.
She's laughing. That probably went well. We'd have to see. Well, yeah, it's in the center line.
And those are tough to throw. That's probably why she's laughing a little bit. For a third, they don't throw the long guard very often. It's usually the lead that throws that. I mean, you're almost scared to hog that rock. But there's a lot of room between the long guard and the tight guard. It's a double peel would be really tough.
Question here is, what team? No, you're asking for a timeout.
Gim's going to call the timeout, and so in her mind, she's already thinking if we peel one more time, she's going to come in on the next one. So do we have to do something first? And that's what her thought process will be here. And they're going to ask the coach to come down, and they're going to talk about it.
They're talking about hitting their stone on the top of the 8.
Yeah, not hard. They're just going to try to put it into the yellow and
pushing
mess,
the yellow a bit.
Yeah, mess up that angle, because Kate Cameron's got a great angle on that yellow onto red, and she's right. This is probably the best shot to change that angle, but then what are you going to leave in the house? That's also got to be part of this conversation.
Yeah, because then you have a shooter, and the yellow might go, but then.
Yeah, I don't think they're going because I don't. Well, maybe she'll throw that kind of weight. She might. I would think they were going to throw it a little quieter than that, but you might be right. She might throw it with enough weight to just kill him. That's a little scary. You throw takeout weight at that. If the red off the side of the yellow comes back and moves your shot rock, you don't want to move that rock. If it's behind the tee line, that actually helps Kate Cameron. Still waiting on the coach. He was at the far end, so. Oh, nope, maybe he was off to the side, so they've already had their conversation, and they've decided, let's peel the guard one more time. Probably part of the discussion was what do they want to play when they decide to make the move in the house.
we'll see.
This will have influenced Kate Cameron though too. She knows they discussed it this time. So if you throw one more corner guard, if you throw one more center guard, you probably expect they're going to make a play in the house on the next one. So can you afford to throw one more guard? Do you want to give them the chance to move first, or do you want to go first?
Well, we'll see. I think you might have been right on your prediction. It will be last stone by Taylor McDonald. You see the peel here by Min Ji Kim.
Still doesn't have to play this with weight. She can come down and sit right on the face of that yellow. She doesn't have to move it yet.
Now we'll see.
She might still be playing the guard.
She might. Well,
Trying to remember where the broom was on the last one. To me, it seems like this might be just a little bit less ice, which probably means she's throwing a little bit more weight and trying to come right in.
again, big shot for Taylor McDonald. We'll see if it's just the guard and just would still be big because again, not easy. Or if she's trying to it's the guard. So we'll see what happens with the skip stones. We'll still have one more shot by Minji Kim. That might be the one that tries to shake up things inside the 8 foot. No, it's the peel. Minji Kim with her last stone here in the 7th. Another peel. Now we're going into skip stones and Kate Cameron.
Yeah, and now she's going to come in and sit on her own.
Now we'll see.
It's not even important to move this up yet because she's still got, you can see her gesturing at the guard. She's not looking at playing the run back now. She's thinking if we freeze, we've still got the run back on the last one. And these teams are so good at that shot that you just expect to make it, right? So she's trying to cut this, not a guard this time. The ice is pretty similar, but she's looking to come right down to the face of her own yellow. If she taps it up a little bit, that's okay, but she doesn't need to be shot rock after that. She needs her shooter and the yellow that's already there to be dead lined up to that stone at the top of the button.
Not an easy shot. But again, a bit of a comeback in this past 2 ends by Team Cameron.
And they've already made this draw once this ends, so they know how to get there.
Well, there it goes. She steps away.
I thought I heard back 4, so they've got to get to line to tap now if it's that heavy.
Needs to curl. Line looks good.
Line's really close, yep. And does leave everything dead lined up. That's a good shot.
As they say, the gun is loaded.
Yes, yeah, it is for sure.
Now, let's see if Tim Gim can do anything about that. They also have good shooters on their side.
Yeah. Yeah. Gosh darn it, when you're playing against a team, that's always the other problem, that they can shoot too.
Yeah. There you go.
Looking to hit basically what she can see of that red stone coming by the guard. She'll drive in onto the yellow at the top of the 4 foot. Probably both of the stones that she's making contact with will fly. I imagine she's going to throw some weight at this. And her shooter will roll out of play as well.
Could be, well, if she misses it or something doesn't go right.
If she's thin on the first one, she could jam it and leave the red stone in the ring somewhere. And it depends where it ends up. It might be okay, But if it rolls over, for instance, if it just spins over and sits beside the other red stone, she could leave a pretty easy double behind cover. She doesn't want to do that.
That's one of the problems.
Yeah.
Important shot here for Tim Gim. Yoonji Gim. First shot of the 7 end. Not a lot of weight, Shawn.
No.
Well, might not seem like a lot of weight.
No, it's not. I was expecting more weight. They're going to have to go to get by.
Oh, but it's not. It's going to hit the guard. And now we're going to be... She's still swooping it. And now we're going to see that shot, which is even easier now because there's no guard.
Yeah, if she has to play it, I think there's a double on the reds. Like, I think if you just get the one in the 8-foot, just miss your own stone, you double out the 2 reds and you're sitting 4.
It's possible, but you'd have to be super fine, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair.
And then...
It's there, though. If you look at it from the hacks, it
you're
doesn't
right.
look that bad. And then I'm not sure how she scores. You know, she's gonna hit. She's gonna hit. She's never gonna draw against 4 when they're lined up like this. She's got 2 doubles. She could nose hit probably either one of the yellows and double the one out of the top of the 4-foot. The problem is the other yellow is going to be shot rock, and if she ever hits it off the nose and jams it, it could be a steal of 2. The double still has to be made, but I think that's the call. It's a nose hit. You just have to miss your own. The scary thing is if you're just a shade to the inside, you might miss the second one altogether. Even then, though, it might be a force. Like, she doesn't have a lot of room to score the second point.
Yeah. Unless she opens the 4-foot with this attempt, yeah, there's not.
Well, yeah, if she hits the red on the outside and touches the yellow, you're right. That would be a problem.
It really depends on the curl, on the curl, and again, the team has been controlling the sweeping really well. Major call here, and maybe one of the shots up. Yeah,
she's playing the yellow onto yellow. It's the safest way to make sure she's got shot rock. I'm just not sure. She might even be sitting 2 if she makes this.
Kate Cameron already had one of the great shots of this game. This will have to be another. Oh, but she's just pushing.
Yeah, she's just going to play the yellow under the yellow under the red. And I think she can sit 2 off this.
She might.
And, you know, interesting. This could be interesting. If she's sitting 2 off this, Gim's not going to want to risk giving up 2. She could just hit and concede 1 to keep last rock going home. That'll be an interesting discussion. Will Shield curled on this?
The line is a bit... it was more or less enough. Now, what...
She left her shot for 2, though.
Yeah, she did. Now that's an easy 2.
Yeah,
easy, as if it was easy.
At this level, it's relatively easy. It's, you know, she could hit either one of those rocks first. Now, granted, she can't see very much of the shot stone, but she'll play to hit them right in the middle, and the shooter will stay right there. Kate needed to be...
Up one and the other.
She was just a little off center, and if she was going to be off center, she needed to be off center the other way, and then it wouldn't have spilled that yellow stone out into the open like that.
Well, if Yoonji Gim gets 2 here, Team Cameron has a tough job going into the 8th. Yes, they'll have hammer, but they will have to score 3. Important. Again, we said that this end would be very important in the last shot, especially. See this one. Needs a double 4-2.
Might have been a little outside. They're sweeping for curl, starting to go. This is good.
The line was good. That's 2 points. And again, Team Cameron will need 3 to tie. And we'll go for a short break. See you in a bit for the 8th end.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Calling all curlers, novice to pro. Ashland Curling Supply's patented rotator disc system lets you customize your slider right in the store. Velcro attachments make it easy to find the sliding platform that's right for you. Shop Ashland Curling Supplies, 700 McPhillips, online at ashland.com.
Just hit everything out of the ice. And we are back. Hack2House Alberta Curling Series. This is obviously women's majors. And we're the curling club here in Beaumont. Curling club is hosting this event, and we are going to be watching the last end, or what could be the last end? The 8th one.
Yeah, it's not a gimme that it's the last end, right?
Yeah.
Kate Cameron can generate her 3. She could still get into an extra here.
So Tim Gim versus Tim Cameron. Tim Gim just scored 2 in the 7th, while, and Shawn, you were saying he shouldn't have been allowed to do that, but it was again minor mistake.
If Kate hits it just her last stone just over curl, did she hit off center across the face? If she hits it off center on the broom side, she wouldn't have left a shot for 2. At worst, it's 1. And really, if she's sitting 2, it would have been interesting. I would have liked to have seen what the Koreans did, because if Cameron's sitting 2 and they have no way to score 2, they might have conceded 1 to keep last rock into the 8th end. So we would have been tied up coming home. But
again, when you're, as I was saying when we were on break, if you're playing from behind, your margins are slim. Very, very slim. You cannot afford any type of half shot, as we call it. So.
Yeah, but they had played such a good end, and then just over curl on the 1 shot. I hate this call. You can't come in here. You have to throw a second corner guard.
Yeah. Getting back to this end, so Team Cameron needs to score 3.
Yeah, and you're not doing that without a second corner guard.
Good hammer, and
she's looking at making the play in the rings here, and then Gim's going to blast. Yeah, I absolutely hate this call. She's going to blast. It doesn't matter what you do here. She doesn't even care if she gets the red one out or the yellow one out. She's fine with losing her reds as long as she's got a path to get the yellow out after this. You've only got 1 guard. How are you burying 3 stones? And in the 5 rock free guard zone, this one is still a free guard if you throw it up front.
Yeah, that's correct. Well, again, as we were discussing earlier in this game, 3 games in 1 day, the mind, it's not just the body that gets a bit tired, it's also the mind. Sometimes these calls then come in.
This is where after sliding through like that, if you thought you could peel the 2 reds and roll away. It's a tough shot to make, so the other option is you just come to the middle. You could throw this through too. You've only got 1 guard to worry about now.
So in this hand and with this context, Tim Gim just needs to hit everything out of the house.
Well, and now with only 1 guard, like, Team Cameron needs 2 misses now, which pretty unlikely. They did call to just throw this one through.
This one is not even going to sit in anywhere near the house, so
no, they didn't want it in play.
Getting the initiative back to Team Cameron. And we'll be seeing Brianna Cullen delivering her first rock.
Calling the corner guard now, but this is the 5th stone of the end, so after it comes to rest, they can peel it.
to end. Line looks good. Needs to curl a bit more.
And it needs to stop. They're going to get these too close together, and she's going to get a chance to peel them both.
And now it's Soo Ji Kim. Soo Ji Kim is going to peel at least one of those two, if not both. And if she does peel them both, that's a lot of heartbreak for Team Cameron. One.
Gets one, jams a second. That's okay. She only needs to hit one at a time right now. Kate needs to get 3 in the rings, so she comes around, you peel the guard, she comes in again. I mean, she's still only got 2 in the rings. You're okay as long as you don't flash anything. And that's the danger here, is you start looking at a double like that and you overthrow it, try to throw too hard and don't hit the broom and go right by everything. So just stay within yourself, throw your normal delivery. As long as you make one rock go away every time, she doesn't have enough left.
There we go. Hits those two.
Yeah, she wanted to stay right in line with them though, and she rolls off, so
Tries to shake things up within the house, but it doesn't really work.
nope.
Not even a great dilemma here for Tim Gim. They're just going to hit.
Yeah. I mean, if you wanted to, you could play the other turn and try to kill one of the reds with it, but you don't need to. There's separation between the 2 reds now, so it becomes tougher for Kate to tap to a freeze. Still looking for the tap. Third's first stone here. It would be tempting actually to just come around the 2 reds to the top, to the back of the 8, or back of the 12 even. Tough shot, but you're down 3, you're kind of desperate here.
We're getting the first stone by Taylor McDonald. Trying to freeze one on top of those 2 red. But it's over curling again.
Yeah, she was actually looking to tap it and maybe get a pocket. But even at that, if you tap to the pocket, you create a pocket, but your shooter's going to roll off. She hits that. Now you freeze the pocket. She blasts it. You can come around, but she can hit the open stone to get the win. I think she needed to come to the back 12 foot there and hope for a bit of a mistake.
So if Tim Gim gets this one out and the next one out as well, that's mathematically it. Will
Yeah,
be
it's and she's running out of. She doesn't really have any good places to hide. That's the other part of the problem here. You need to count all 3 of these rocks, and nothing really good to hide behind.
This is where curling can sometimes be a bit cruel, but that's a pocket.
Yeah, that helped her a little bit actually. She can get to the pocket and
At least hide 1 there, but needs to make room for another 3 in there.
well, she only needs room for 2 because her last one, they don't get to throw after it. So
well, that's right.
make room for, make a good one here with room to get another one in. And that didn't roll to a very good spot for Team Gim. Brushes are backed away from this. I think it's over curled already. Drastically over curled. It's wide open in the 12 foot. Make this go away. And she gets that giant check we were talking about.
Well, we'll see. Maybe this will be the final rock of this Alberta Curling Series, well, Hack2House Alberta Curling Series Women's Majors. Some pressure maybe on Yoonjin Kim. hit for the championship.
I heard what sounded like clean even in Korean.
And there it is. Game over. And Team Gim take the win. Final score, if I'm not mistaken, Shawn, it's 6-3.
6-3, it'll go into the final because they didn't complete this end. It goes into the books as a 6-3 final. Gim picks up the championship. They had a solid game today. They were solid in the semifinal as well. And this, really 4-0 through the event. They only had to play 4 games, but they won them all.
They did. And again, what a great game we had. I'd say one of the best shots in this game was by Team Cameron, Kate Cameron, with that diagonal.
Yeah, the tick in off with in a losing effort. It was still a great shot.
I think if there's, and again, these teams have faced each other plenty of times. At least the Skips have, and I think now it's a split record. So, and I think last time they faced was in early September. So, and at that time, Team Cameron won. So now Team Kim wins. I'm sure they are both looking forward to meet again and tie break.
And it may well happen. But let me take this opportunity to say on behalf of the crew here at Curling Stadium Beaumont, we want to thank you here for joining us both this week for the women's, last week for the men's, and stay tuned for a lot of great action on Curling Stadium all fall and into the spring as well. I'm Shawn Joyce, Joao Cardoso. Thanks for being here with me as well.
Right. Thank you, Shawn. Thank you, Rory McCusker, which was handling our production, and thank you to all the viewers above all. And I guess
we'll see you next week from Martinsville.
Will do. Bye.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.